Before completing our discussion on supply chain design, I want to, especially supply chain coordination, I want to talk about one last topic, which is about sustainable supply chain coordination. In other words, under what circumstances the supply chain partners are willing to coordinate with each other. That's not an easy issue, right? In reality, sometimes supply chain partners, even if they know that the coordination is good, but they are reluctant to do that. Why? Because there are some reasons. We already talked about some fair measurement issues, and if there is no fair measurement, and therefore we cannot estimate how much contribution each one of the supply chain partners has made to increasing this whole benefit or profit, then in the end it will be very complicated how to to determine how to allocate all this increased benefit among supply chain partners. In reality, sometimes the supply chain partner that has the largest bargaining power or largest power gets the whole benefit. If that happens, then the sustainable supply chain coordination cannot be expected. I mean, the supply chain coordination cannot sustain for a long time. So let's think about two seemingly obvious but at the same time significant conditions that make sure that the supply chain coordination continues in the long run. The first one I would call that as a system-wide or system-wise optimization. Basically, this is about we increase the pie from this small one. We want to have a big pies, and that occurs because of this coordination. We coordinate with each other, and therefore we increase the big pie. As you can see here, pi s and pi m and pi d are the profit without coordination. And now let's say we put hat here, and these are the profits when coordination is done. And then the first condition is actually about this one. If you add all those individual profit when there is no coordination, and you add up all these profits when there is indeed coordination among the supply chain partners, and then the profit, the total profit, the system-wide profit when coordination is done must be larger than the sum of profit when there is no such coordination. In other words, at least there is some guarantee that if we coordinate with each other, the pie will increase. If that is not the case, what's the point to coordinate with each other? It means nothing, right? Okay, so that's our first condition. But I think that that's not enough. Eventually, at the individual level, everybody gets something more. Everybody gets more, right? In other words, let's say here, A gets this much, B gets that much, C gets that much. And after the pie increases, if still A gets all this, and B and C gets the same thing, and if that is the case, then it's not sustainable at all. So everybody must be able to earn more, must be able to have more profit. Some people might say that if the second condition is satisfied, the first condition is automatically satisfied, therefore we just need to have this one. But I would say that that's not the case. That's not the case, because we have to look at this timeline, right? In the long run, what's happening. Even if the individual fairness or individual justice is not met, at least during the early period of time, as long as this system-wide optimization, system-wide benefit, system-wide profit increases, then the supply chain partners probably are willing to participate in the coordination. Let's say I'm supplier. In the short run, my profit will not increase, but I know that at least the supply chain, the profit throughout the supply chain will increase because of that coordination. But I know that my profit will not increase, at least in the short run. But that's okay. I can tolerate. I can endure. I can endure for the short period of time, as long as I can expect that I will have more share, at least in the near future. And therefore, sometimes coordination starts even when the second condition is violated, as long as the first condition is satisfied. In that sense, I would say that the first condition and second condition are separate conditions, and the first condition must be met first. But if we want to have sustainable supply chain coordination, sooner or later, the second condition also must be satisfied as well. So these are the two fundamental conditions for sustainable supply chain coordination.